The consumer problem is how to maximize satisfaction given a limited amount of resources or budget. For instance, suppose Tom consumes only two things, books and meals. If we place books along the horizontal axis and meals along the vertical axis, we can create a graphical representation of Tom's preferences by identifying different consumption bundles of these two goods that give him the same satisfaction. For example, suppose Tom was indifferent between consumption bundles A, B, and C. If we connected these 3 points, we create what economists call an indifference curve. Indifference curves represent all consumption bundles for which the consumer is indifferent. The slope on the indifference curve represents the value Tom has for books in terms of meals. For instance, notice that from point A to point B, Tom needs to gain 3 meals in order to give up 3 books and remain indifferent. In other words, from A to B, Tom values each meal at 1 book. And again, this is exactly the slope of the indifference curve between these 2 points. Economists call this rate of change the marginal rate of substitution, or MRS. Notice that the marginal rate of substitution between points B and C is 1.25, since Tom must gain 5 meals in order to give up 4 books and remain indifferent. Hence, Tom's require more meals, 5, in order to give up some of those additional 4 books and remain indifferent. Further, notice that when Tom can gain more of one good without having to give up any of the other good, he achieves a higher level of satisfaction. In other words, what can we say about Tom's happiness at points B and point D? Well, since point D, Tom can consume more books and the same number of meals as in B, then Tom must be happier at point D, or he should be on a different indifference curve. In other words, indifference curves to the right of the origin represent an increase in consumer happiness.